Yo, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session where we're supposed to be talking about online reputation management.
Is that what we're talking about today? I wasn't sure what the hell we were talking about.
Yeah. But that may be my reputation. It could be the hospital's reputation, just what we're talking about here. Anyone's reputation is potentially at risk. Anyway, before we go into what we're talking about, we are sponsored by the News Guy. The logo is above his head. The link is below, so please do check out the News Guy. And also, it's very on topic when it comes to reputation management, Randy. And the reason that I chose this, so I was asking Randy, what topic do you want to discuss today? And obviously, over the period of time we've done these, we've covered fucking everything and anything. But I don't know if we've ever actually covered reputation management services, and they obviously tie in with news, they tie in with SEO,
Sure.
they tie in with building a brand, and so on and so forth. So I thought it'd be a good topic to talk about. Certainly from some of the work I've done over the years, I have actually had people come to me and they've had, I'm not talking about a bad review here. These individuals have done something really bad like 10 years ago. And obviously what's in the past is in the past. And they form a business, and when you Google their name, up comes, they done this or they done that, which it's not good for business. So we need to work to push that stuff down. But also there's people who get their name dragged through the mud when they've not actually done anything. So there's always a need to do that. But the main reason I actually do a lot of reputation management work is more for brand protection. From an affiliate perspective, in very competitive spaces, like let's say you, the news guy, Randy, you've got your brand there, you're working hard to build it, you're, spending a fortune, putting yourself out there.
Hey, don't be giving people ideas here, all right?
Let's say you did, but you didn't protect your own fucking brand. So you're doing brand building, but you're not protecting your own brand. So you don't dominate page one for everything that you should. It would be very easy for someone to grab a keyword-rich domain and pop in and take some of your brand search away, a competitor or whatever it may be.
Right,
and believe it or not, that happens in like the iGaming space and stuff like that. So brand protection is fucking vital because there's sharks out there. And I've done stories, Randy. One of the easiest things I've done years ago as an affiliate was being able to rank for like the Hilton Hotel in Glasgow, right? They don't
I remember that. Yeah.
They don't fucking market the Hilton Glasgow, right? They don't, because there's a million fucking Hiltons all over the world. Glasgow's the least of their problems. So I was able to grab like keyword-rich domains and things like that and able to rank really well. Or I could go to Bing Ads and I could bid on it and cloak the website over and it looked like something else. I was able to basically jack their brand off for many, many years. Now, obviously, that is why people have affiliate managers, to watch people like me doing all this goofery, if we want to call it that. But it's, as time develops and as things go on, people are becoming more and more aware, and you have to protect against this stuff. And obviously, that is something any brand should do, whether it be you, whether it be me, because it's so easy now. One of the first things that happen, Randy, right? And we all get them. You've got a disgruntled customer. The first thing that customer says is, I'm going to fucking leave you a bad review. It's the first fucking thing. It's a threat. And they could tarnish one of those could fucking cost you so much money. So leaving that open for them to be able to hold a gun to your head saying, I'm going to fuck you, is not ideal. And that then goes back to, how do you protect your brand? And, things that we've spoken about in the past, ongoing press releases, putting your name out there on high profile websites. And obviously I listened to your podcast with Bogdan, one of my friends, SaaS Pod it's called, and Randy was on there. And Bogdan is newer to the industry, and you know, he's very, very inquisitive, and he's like, should you only do it once? Should it be an ongoing thing? Should you be doing this month to month to month? And absolutely, I think, you know, in terms of reputation management, you should be putting a different narrative out every month. You can't keep saying Craig's the best SEO guy in the world. You know, you're going to have to say Craig has won an award here, or Craig said that, or you done this, or he's launched a course, or he's sponsored an event, whatever. That narrative has to keep changing. And I think you will know that more than anyone from the type of work you do. But again, I think a lot of people used to always see your work as there's a PR blast and it's all about the links. It's far more than that. Again, just to re-emphasize, it's far more than that. Reputational management stuff, dominating the SERP, for all of that kind of stuff. So do you do a lot of that stuff first and foremost for yourself?
Oh, like, yeah. I will talk. I mean, you're unboxing so much stuff, right? In regards to reputation. But I mean, you brought up the bad review stuff, the stuff that could land on your GMB or your GBP with a Google review, and as well, just doing other kinds of crazy, nefarious kinds of activities. So let me kind of think about it in this term. So you started going on and saying, hey, there's a lot of things, you got to have this constant flow of content, we'll call it, for this part, in regards to your brand, your services, things that you're providing. Absolutely. I mean, what we do with the press releases lends itself really well to that kind of activity. But I think one of the things, and that I would really latch onto what you were talking about, is having that, not just content coming out, but having, kind of changing that message, if you would. So not just saying, hey, Craig is the best SEO, Craig is the best SEO, Craig is the best SEO, and just repeating all the time. But instead, maybe have the first one, hey, Craig's the best SEO out there. And then the subsequent stories and the content and the things you're talking about is Craig in the SEO industry, or associating Craig in digital marketing, or, Craig is now speaking at this SEO industry, and Craig is sponsoring this particular SEO conference, and, Craig was on this SEO podcast, right? So it's associating you in a broad way with your particular niche or your industry, so that it's not just one narrow conversation you're trying to have, but you really are saying Craig is in digital marketing and all things associated with digital marketing. And so that you then become, not just, so that association enables you to become visible in the search rankings, in the AIOs that could potentially pop up, and then as you do a press release, or as you do things, and then people begin to do more searches on you, something, maybe a story that was written several months ago now pops up in the AIO because it's relative to the search that was done at that very moment. So that constant flow of content about you, and then, in a broad way relative to what it is that you're doing, I think is absolutely critical. And you bring up Bogdan, which Bogdan is great, by the way. I love that guy. And he does some quality work as well. So folks, if you are out there and you are like, I want to get into podcasts, I don't want to do all of the production and all of that crap that comes with it, man, reach out to Bogdan on SaaSpod is his company, I think, a production company. The dude puts good work together. And I'm sure he'll handle it all for you. But what he is doing is like a perfect kind of, and I think I even said this on his podcast, which is kind of the perfect 1-2 punch, because what we do with our press releases is great. And of course, I'm always going to say that, but doing the press releases as well as doing content on, or that repeating that content on other authoritative platforms like podcast, as an example, just solidifies that message and your authority as a brand. So, your story gets out there like we've done with you so many times, right? Your story gets out there on Business Insider or Yahoo Finance or wherever. And then you take that same content and that same story, and then we do an evergreen podcast episode, and then we publish that out across the platforms. And now you've got that same story, that same content on Spotify, on Amazon, on Apple Podcast, and 30 other different ones. Now, all of a sudden, you have got massive authority pointing to you and talking about your brand, whatever it was that the original article is about. That is a way to seriously amplify your reputation. And when you start talking about that, it's not only is it like reputation management, but it really is not in a negative way. So saying that you're trying to combat, maybe some dipstick, did something negative against you, but you're just bombarding the web with positive content about you, so that even if the negative shit pops up, you've got so much positive out there that it doesn't have any impact. You're like Teflon, right? It's like, can't touch me, baby. Who is that? MC Hammer, can't touch this, right? I can see you bouncing around in those parachute pants too. You probably had them too.
I mean, I won't say, I'm not going to deny that I listened to a bit of MC Hammer back in the day when I was a kid, but I was not dressing like him.
Come on, Craig. I bet little Craig, when he was like 12, 13, and MC Hammer was like doing his thing, I can see you. Yeah. Dun, get done. Yeah. In your nice Glasgow accent. Yeah.
I had the middle shed. I had so many bad things, but I didn't dress like MC Hammer. I had some real bad outfits and things like that. But
yeah, Ryan says you probably still do. You probably still have them in the closet.
Listen, you never know. You never know. But you're not going to get that one out of me. And it's also not sweaty here, Ryan. It's actually, let me see, 19 here. From Friday, though, it goes up to 26. So Thursday starts to heat up. So yeah, we're going to have a nice weekend, but you must have it first down there. But yeah, so I think, Bogdan, you mentioned there, he was just doing his podcast thing, and he came into my office, and I'm sitting and I'm like, dude, you need to do this, you need to do that, and what about this and what about that? And it was like there was just a light bulb in his fucking head went, oh my fucking God. And obviously, as part of his service, he wants to implement your service because he's promoting podcasts, but he wants to do more than just promote podcasts. He wants to shove it out in so many other places, on top of what he was doing. And it was just this light bulb moment, which was amazing to see. And he's like, fuck. And he went away and he done his thing. And yeah, great guy. And like I say, it's sometimes just getting someone else to do that shit for you because you can't be bothered or you don't have time is important. So
I would tell you, and not to get off the reputation management thing, but I watched that podcast production that he did over on YouTube, right? So the YouTube version of it. And I was like, man, that is so good. I would love, I'm going to kick this idea around. So, I do my live stream show on Tuesdays. And I'm like, man, can I do that? And then can I have him do some magic on the production and then re-release it as a separate video or podcast? I'm not sure how I could potentially, because I like doing the live show, but man, what he does with his production is so good. He's solid with it. But
yeah. But Ryan's asked a good question here. Does brand protection change in the world of LLMs, you guys think? I mean, it's something we already knew it's easy to feed into the LLMs doing this type of work. I think within a couple of hours of Randy doing something for me, popped up a AI overview. So obviously protecting your brand, I think first and foremost, forgetting about LLMs is a must-have and always has been. But in the world of LLMs, I think even fucking more so. You know, because the more co-citations or websites or whatever you want to call it that are saying that Ryan Durrani's this or that, or the expert in this or the king of that, or whatever it may be, is like the new links, if you like, in terms of for from an LLM perspective, they need to see that shit said 30, 40, 50 times before they start believing it. And it has to come from those trusted, authoritative websites. So I think even more so now, and it's obviously one of the reasons that I wanted to do this session. And I've said to Randy for a while now, the service that you have is going to become so much more important. Not that it wasn't important before, because I think exposure's exposure, and it's crazy to think otherwise. But I think even more so now with LLMs involved and everything else, you have to feed that motherfucker. You have to be doing PR. You have to be telling stories. You need to be telling different angles of things that you're good at or whatever. Because if you don't, and Randy does, and he's telling everyone that he's at this and he sponsors that and he does this and he does that and he sells this and he sells that, the LLMs are all going to be fucking smashing his name out there and not yours, because he is the one that's feeding everything, that he's the king of that service, and not just doing it for a 2 or 3 months period. You've got to be consistent with it. And I think, doing it every month and covering every possible fucking thing that you could come up with, just be creative with it. You can't just keep saying, Randy's the news guy, Randy's the news guy, Randy's the news guy. Who cares about fucking the news guy? What does the news guy do? Is it reputation management? Is it link building? Is it brand awareness? Is it fucking podcast distribution? This can be flipped into so many different things. And that is where Randy needs to keep talking about all of these different things, online and from a video, a blog, all of these perspectives to build up that is the benefits overall of the news guy. And that's where I think even more so now than ever that this is going to change because of the LLMs and stuff. There's just so much more to it now. And yeah, you've just got to double down and go for what's working right now. And you said this before, Joe, the CNC Music Factory.
Are you familiar with that group?
No, but he keeps saying it. He's mentioned it multiple times, and it's like it's a forced name that he's trying to put onto me. But nah, what is that? Is that an actual group?
It is. It kind of, I don't know if it's out of the MC Hammer era or a little earlier. I'd have to ask my wife. She's a little bit younger than me. Well, like 10 years younger than me. So our genre in music is, 10 years in music is a big gap, right? So stuff when she was growing up that was popular, I'm like, I didn't listen to that crap. So she probably knows CC Music Factory much more than I do. But I think it was in that same genre, the MC Hammer. I don't know, somewhere around in there, but same kind of things. Your Hammer Pants will work with Music Factory, I'm sure.
If I ever see a PR going out saying anything about Hammer Pants, there's going to be war.
So I wanted to hit though. You hit some really good points on something though. One was. So, and it kind of comes on the heels of Ryan's question or thought about brand protection and LLMs. So a couple of things to keep in mind. One, I think, is that LLMs love two maybe you could say even more, but two things that absolutely pop to mind. One is that citation or that co-citation on an authoritative source. So whether that be, in a news site, in a magazine, and on a podcast even, but your citation, your message, whatever, being linked on one of those authoritative sites. So that's going to push you up as a potential being visible on the LLM in a search. The other thing, though, is that the LLMs love current relative data and information, meaning, like more recent. So it's not usually picking stuff up maybe that you did a year ago or even several months ago. Sometimes it's difficult, certainly not a couple of years ago. So it's like that current information. So if you're putting out current content and some data around it and help supporting it on an authoritative site, man, your chance of showing up and visibility on an LLM just skyrockets.
I've got a question relating to that, Randy, and I don't know if you've tested it or seen anything, but you know that there's the websites that were Google News approved, that were in Google Discover and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah, the Google News sites.
Would those websites feed the LLMs better and quicker than the average website? If you're in Google,
you know what? I don't think so, because we still have a good number of these Google News sites, and we put stuff out there. I use them for a lot of different things. I don't think that they carry the same amount, what I will say, authoritative weight as, say, like Yahoo News as an example. The LLM loves Yahoo News and Business Insider. When you're talking about news sites in in this era here. But I have not seen anything pop up like as a Google News site that's just some rando Google News site, even though it's showing up in the Google Discover. I have not seen it, but that's in my own instance, right? So it's very specific. But I don't know. I do know that. And I saw this on, somebody had a graphic, and I thought I captured it somewhere. Maybe I did it on my phone. I captured it. But it was a great graphic that was showing what sites had the most visibility or had the most frequent references on the LLMs. And I don't know. But at the top of the list was Reddit. It was like Reddit, Quora, and then I can't remember after that, but the order. But other sites were like LinkedIn. What is that? Pulse. What is that? LinkedIn
Pulse, the article thing.
Pulse, yeah. LinkedIn Pulse was like in the top 10. Yahoo News, Business Insider, they were in the top 10.
How the fuck? I get Yahoo, right? Yahoo, historically is a monster. Business fucking Insider, like, how is that still taken seriously, man? That is a fucking beggar's belief, that one.
I wish I could find what I did with that image, because I was well. But anyway, so it's back to this point, right, about being on those authoritative sites, having that citation on there, having content that's current with data. And that all lends back to what you were just saying and what we've talked about and hammered this a number of times. Hammer, another number, more hammer.
Guys, just so you know, the LLMs and Google are listening to what we're fucking saying on here. Please.
Craig Campbell and his MC Hammer pants. Yes. Soon you're going to be popping up in the AI overviews for doing MC Hammer impersonation.
It wouldn't surprise me if some fucker together a video right now.
What was I saying? But about this frequency, right? Of like kicking this stuff out. And so it's that reputation management, but it really is being sure that you're just constantly putting out content and across multiple platforms. And we've talked about this, a couple of years ago about how important it is for building your brand and doing it across multiple platforms. This is way the hell before AIOs became, really a concern for anybody. And I was going to ask you a question. Do you think that, for instance, for you, you've been doing, building the Campbell brand forever. Do you think it would be more difficult for somebody to like try to jump into the industry now and be, say like, oh, I'm going to go head to head with Craig. I want to be the best known SEO speaker. I want to be the best known SEO, man with a catheter,
Any other keywords you want to associate my name? Throw them all in there, Randy.
Having this stuff out there. But do you think they really even have a fighting chance, considering the hours and hours and hours of video content you have out? I mean, thousands of hours, right? You probably have 1,000+ videos out there, and all of the other content and the podcasts and everything that you've done for the last 10 years or whatever. I could, in today's world, and where brand, and we've talked about this before, that it is so brand centric right now in search and in AIOs, that do you think they even have a fighting chance?
For now, yes. Absolutely. And I'll tell you the reason why. Now, they shouldn't, because, I've spoke at every conference, I've fucking done countless amounts of videos, but that doesn't actually carry any weight just now when you look at LLMs and stuff. So I could literally tell the LLMs that Randy's not the news guy, and that fucking John Travolta's the news guy, and you're just a fucking fraud, and feed it. And you could wipe someone out very, very quickly, because of all of this new technology, and AI is so fucking new and it's so fucked up that, is anyone really that far ahead of you just now? Or is now the time to fucking jump in and smash the shit out of it and feed these LLMs, because you've got half a chance of being able to manipulate that stuff? So absolutely what you say, it should be untouchable based on how far ahead I should be. But with technology and everything else, I think it's actually easy to go in there and manipulate stuff. And you've seen in the mastermind the aquapony thing, and someone was able to say that I was an Olympic champion at aquapony and all this fucking garbage. So you can actually fucking destroy someone's brand if you wanted to, and make the LLMs really think something about someone very, very quickly. It doesn't matter whether I've got 1,000 videos out there that say otherwise. The LLMs, and you said something earlier, current, new, it doesn't matter what I've done 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even fucking 2 years ago. That really seems to have went out the window as far as LLMs and stuff are concerned. And obviously with AI and everything else and LLMs, that is the future. So all of the stuff we've done in the past really is forgotten about to some degree. And so I think there is a fighting chance, in all honesty. So
you're going though on the dark side, meaning that you want to go in and be, do something, kind of being a dick about something and trying to take, saying that, well, Craig really is a pony rider and not an SEO guy.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, let's just be like above board, and we're like, no, now somebody's going to come out and just try to be the best SEO speaker. Are they going and take the approach and do the brand amplification around that? Do you think that they have a fighting chance? Not doing anything dirty or any of the other backhanded tricks around it. Which, by the way, that I don't think that stuff lasts, though. I mean, you can do that stuff on the negative side, but it's not long term. It's not going to have a long term impact.
Nah, I think, Google and the LLMs would have to look at what they trust and stuff. So I think that
Right.
is a short-term thing. But, can someone come in and make a name for themselves relatively quickly? I think if you ever went with the mindset that you couldn't, there'd be no fucking point. Are you just going to let me take over? Absolutely not. You've seen, guys like Vickers come up over recent years, and other guys. It comes down to your personality, your style. You've seen Merlino come in recent years to events, and because he's very vocal, he's funny,
Right.
he's
Right.
crazy. All of these things can actually accelerate you very quickly. So I still think there is the best way for me to say this without insulting anyone is there's a lot of speakers out there, but a lot of people in our industry in particular are introverts that can't, that they have no
Right.
personality. It's not that they've no personality, but I think, you can still come in and you could do very, very well just by having a bit of a personality and doing things. I think you could still come in and take your place in the industry. So I also do think, without any kind of hooky stuff, we do have a lot of introverts who are not comfortable speaking, who don't come across well when they're speaking. And I think it's very, very easy to shine against that type of personality type, if that makes sense, without being derogatory to anyone.
Right. Right. Right.
So, yeah, I think there still is a chance, and it's like anything, Randy. If you think I cannot come in and do this, there'll be no point starting. It's like young kids.
Yeah.
Can
Oh
I
yeah.
go
Yeah.
out and play soccer, and can I make it to play for the best team in the world? See, if you never believed that, then you're never going to make it anyway. So you've got to go for it, and go with the mindset where, nah, I can actually do this and I could do some damage here, and I've got some stories to tell and all that stuff. So I think there's
Well, don't get me going on about mindset. I'm a big mindset believer. I'm a big, no, I just believe I can do it, and I don't let the negative pop in. Now, to my wife's chagrin, she gets a little tired of me, thinks that I know everything, but I don't necessarily think I know it. I just think I can do a lot of things that are important, I guess, than to go make money, at least anyway. but but the mindset is critical. But assuming the mindset, the reason I say is because, and asking the question, the original question about it is, this issue about building the brand, I think is so absolutely critical right now. And the stuff that, that you do so much better than I do. But of the constant flow of video and of content, and being on speaking and being on podcasts and having content put out there on authoritative sites, I think so there's a couple of things that I would say. I think past is a major asset for you. And as well, you've been doing it so long, you've got a built-in process, right? I mean, you've got a process, a machine that's built to crank out this content for you. I mean, obviously you are involved in it, but you're not hanging around going, I got to put out another damn video. What should I do? How am I going to do it? It's going to take me, blah, blah, blah. You've got a team, you got the machine built, and you're cranking this stuff out, and it's real, and you're driving engagement. Some of that stuff is more difficult for people just to replicate. Absolutely, they can. But I think there's a number of months to get it up and rolling and having the flow going with it, and then trying to compete with you around just your historic or already anchored reputation. I don't know. I think it's more challenging than maybe what it has been in the past. And, and for those folks that I think who have been really amplifying their brand over the last few years, I think have a big advantage from folks trying to jump into it now.
Yeah. They absolutely have. And I think what is also dangerous, Randy, is a lot of the content I put out there, I have got more content that I don't put out there, like the mastermind, for example, which never goes public. So if I really wanted to, not that I would ever do it, I could go and unleash hundreds more videos on all different topics. If I really, I would never do that because there's private conversations in there and stuff like that. But again, you've just got to be consistent. You've got to, it's just interaction with people and having conversations with people and just doing it all the fucking time. Whether it's recorded, unrecorded, you know, obviously stuff that's in the public domain is going to stand you in much better stead. But just being out and being consistent and doing your work and trying your best and being a nice person and learning and developing and having better people skills is all going to help you. And like you say, I don't even really think about it now. I don't even care if it's been recorded or not, or I know that there's content there, and I'll just say to someone, go chop up the funny bits of this or the funny bits of that, or do this or do that. And I think like it becomes second nature after a while. And I was like anyone, I fucking hated it at the start, you know, trying to do it and going, oh fuck, here's a speaking event, or you know, I need to travel here and try and drum up some business and all that stuff. It's just like boom, boom, but it becomes second nature. And it'll probably be similar to you, second nature now. Like you know, you've got a budget for your business and you go, I'm going to sponsor this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to create content and I'm going to sponsor this and I'm going to do ads for that and I'm going to fucking whatever. And you know, that is your marketing overall, whether you go and speak at events or whatever. And I know you do, you're doing that as well. It is part of your overall marketing strategy. And if you don't do it, someone else will and clean up with the money. And I can't emphasize that part enough. If you ain't taking part, and I've said it to Ryan there as well, people do business with people. You know, they're not going on YouTube going, who is the fucking PR fucking blast guy or any shit like that. They'll meet you, they'll have a conversation. Hopefully you've bought them dinner, you've wined and dined them, and they'll be like, I'm going with this motherfucker and I ain't changing because he's a nice guy and I've sat with him and I've seen the whites of his eyes. I like this guy, and it doesn't matter if you're $20 more expensive, that relationship thing's been built. And I think that is hugely important as well. As you've got to go out and it's not always about putting out content as such. I think there's also got to be that mix of being there in person as well, because I don't know why, but people would rather give someone money that they knew than
well,
not.
I completely agree with that, and that's why I do a lot of the things that I do as well. That now we're getting a little more philosophical on some stuff, but at the end of the day, people are people. We're relational beings. We like to connect with people. Now, there's a few oddballs out there that just want to be in a dark room, and that's, you know, that's the extent, right? But for the most part, people want to connect with people, and it's important. And when they feel like they've got that connection, when they feel like, oh, that guy understands me, or, you know, we've had a connection, they're gonna want to do business with you. But so when I say, you know, that's why I do some of the things. That's why I freely say, hey, you want to talk about your PR project or feature article? You know, 15 minutes on my calendar, you bet. Here's the link, and I'll talk with you all day, you know, every other day if you want, because it makes the connection. It enables me to make a connection with them. If I haven't met them at a conference or whatever, I mean, I talk to like 10 to 15 people every week that way. I don't mind it at all because it's good for my business.
It's and I don't. I've had a few guys saying, Craig, I can't get that fucking guy off that. I thought the calls were only 15 minutes. This motherfucker's still going an hour and a half later. I'm only joking, but
that wouldn't surprise me. I do get going sometimes, but I completely agree, though, man. People want to connect with people, and that's why I think in our industry and what we're doing, I think it's really important to get out, to meet the people, engage, and all of that stuff. But even beyond, though, and thinking about all of this conversation, and if you're just a regular business guy and you're a business owner, you've got a plumbing business or whatever it is, I do think it's not quite as, when I was saying about, I think it's more difficult maybe for somebody to just kind of freshly jump into the pool. I think you've done that a few times, haven't you? Dumped in the pool.
That wasn't me. I'm not taking the blame for that one. That was, I'm not even going to say his name on here because it's not fair to do that. But someone else dumped in the pool, just to be clear. Skylar knows who it was.
I couldn't let that one go. Oh man, I can't get the visual out of my head. I saw the picture. It was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, but if you're, we're talking about in our world, right, in the SEO world, and you're battling against all these great SEO grades out there and the great brands out there. But if you're a local business guy, if I was, Jack the plumber in Cleveland, I'm just kind of like, my world is kind of small there. I'm just trying to battle against other plumbing shops in Cleveland and trying to like build my brand around that more appropriately. And I think absolutely you could, all of a sudden jump into the market, start cranking out content across all of these multiple platforms. I saw that Bogdan has jumped on at some point as well as listen. So, you jump onto a podcast, have Bogdan out there producing some stuff for you, doing PRs, getting on, you're pushing content across like LinkedIn Pulse and all of this stuff. I think within a few months, you could begin to dominate the local market as in the search and in the AIOs. But so I think it does depend upon kind of what the universe is that you're orbiting. Yeah.
You mentioned young.
I mentioned a lot of stuff, dumping in pools. Yeah. Craig, you should be embarrassed by that, Craig.
I am absolutely not. I am absolutely not embarrassed by that. That is brand work. That is fucking good brand work. But on top of that, like you mentioned, Bogdan there, and Bogdan's going out there, and he's not an SEO guy, he's not a marketing guy. He is a podcast guy. But the dots have joined, and what you're going to see very quickly is that this guy, if I look at his traffic on his website, is going. He now understands content, he understands strategy, he understands Google Trust Signals, the knowledge panel, the PR side of it, and he is going to hit that hard, because I said to him the other day, he keeps messaging me on WhatsApp, look at this, Craig, with my knowledge panel, and look at that, and I've done this and I've done that, and I'm like, dude, it just shows you what taking a bit of time and effort and doing some fucking work does. And that is the main thing. A lot of people don't want to do it. They don't want to spend a few quid to get these things done. And that is why that guy will accelerate. And, even when it comes to ranking well in different areas, he's doing all of that kind of stuff. So I think,
it works. I mean, it absolutely works. Yes. And you mentioned though, and you are absolutely right. It is work. It is hard work, and it is a disciplined hard work to keep at it. And money. Yes. I mean, it takes an effort. I shared in a message with you, I think last week, something that I've been working on for a long time, which is if you just went in and said, who is Randy the news guy? I was not showing up in any of the AI overviews. And as much stuff I've been hammering, I've been doing, I wasn't showing, because Randy the news guy, I'm like battling, and you kind of have the same issue. I'm kind of like battling all of these newscasters that are on national, like ESPN and NBC affiliates and CBS, these guys that are out there every day on their news channel, jamming out content and being introduced and all of this stuff. And then they're pushing that out on social. I mean, these are the guys I'm competing with to be Randy the news guy. But finally, last week, I did kind of my test that I've been doing, because I've been doing a lot of, finally, I was not in the top 3 of the mention. Like if you click the button and said, hey, more information, boom, there I was at I think I was in number 5 or number 6 spot in the AI overview of mention then. Finally. Finally.
It's hard.
But it's like, good Lord. I mean, it's taken me, it seemed like for a long ass time for that to happen. So it does work and it does take a lot. Yes. Craig, the country music guy, Craig Campbell.
I have probably no chance in the world of shrugging that guy off, man. I've been trying for a long time, but I'm going to die trying. But he is very, very, very well known. And you think of the news, the PR, the gigs he does, and he's selling tickets. He's all over these ticket websites saying Craig's in town and, doing this, that, and the next thing.
And you think about the thousands of fans, hundreds of thousands that are like, oh, Craig Campbell, right? That are driving the organic engagement. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the problem. Even when you're trying to, and this is really important for people to understand, even from an online reputation management perspective, the click-through rate and the engagement that guy gets is always going to beat. He's always going to beat me because everything out there is seeing that guy is getting hundreds of thousands of clicks per month, as opposed to probably a couple of hundred that I get or whatever. And unless I can replicate that or get the same level of PR exposure, links, social interaction, and everything else that guy's got, then I am always going to be the second Craig Campbell in the world. The dream is to become the number one because I'm telling you, Joe, we were in fucking Nashville. You were there at the were you at the Mastermind Mansion in Nashville? I don't know if you were actually. And that guy was fucking in Nashville singing. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking go and have a word, man. This guy has been the bane of my fucking life. Why did I have to be called this fucking name? But, in hindsight, Randy, I'm going to ask you a question. Now, we obviously spoke about it a couple of years ago when you were like, oh, I'm thinking about this news guy thing and all that stuff. If I was to offer you that conversation again today, would you call yourself Randy the news guy, or would you pick something a little bit more unique?
More unique in given today's knowledge. I probably would actually just still stick with Randy the news guy. And by the way, I just want to let you know, I've told this story a number of times. I think I told it on the podcast with Bogdan even, is that I give you full credit for telling me, like, Randy, you got to do your own brand, get it away from 38 Digital Market, do your PRs as a separate thing, boom. And you were the one who encouraged me to go that route a few years ago. And I'm like, that was really smart. And then I came out with you like, hey, here's a bunch of names I'm considering. And I said, I like this one. My wife didn't like Randy, the news guy. So don't tell my wife that I took your advice over her advice. But
sometimes something just fits though. When you just say, what do you think? And you're like, that's the one.
That's the one. I know, right?
It just rolled off. Like, it's so easy to remember. It's so fucking simple. It's hard to forget. And
yeah. So I would do that again. I think it's a good name, and it's just making me work harder to get it, the position it against Randy. I can't remember Stewart, the ESPN guy. So yeah, but it's good. But it all kind of circles back around, though, is like, folks, you've got to build that brand, take it seriously, do the hard work, put in the effort. It will pay off. It might not be tomorrow, might not be 6 months from now, but it will pay off over time. And I think, and to a degree that you're saying, Craig, that it's a little bit of the Wild West, and because you've got so much opportunity to influence the LLMs, I think you're right with that still, that you've got opportunity there.
Joe says,
Joe's the funniest.
I'm competing with my uncle, the Croatian country singer, and I've recommended that he rebrands as Joe Dirt. That is just because of who you are. Joe Dirt's a good one, dude. That would actually stick. That's actually quite funny. Joe Dirt. Like, is that available? Because Maricic is just fucking not easy to fucking.
Dude, I had Joe and Brian Wenham. You know, they worked together. I had those two guys on my show. I don't know, last year sometime. I was dying. Those guys are. I was ready for it. I was ready for a good time. Man, they were hilarious.
You should have done that one in person over a few drinks.
Got
a real good fucking.
I think I'm going to start doing that. Holly and I tried to do that, but like doing a recording live at conferences. I think I'm going to try to do that. Like the next conference I go to, I'm going to try to line up a couple of people and like do them live at a conference and just try to have fun.
So, dude, at Odys. What we tend to do is, like, even when we were in Poland last week. Now, I'm nothing to do with it. I'm saying we. I help Odys and all that stuff. I'm the CMO at Odys. I ain't recording shit. But what we do is, when I say we, I mean Aneta, the girl who actually does it all. Is she comes to the events, she hires a room, and for the 2 or 3 days at the event, she will just get 8 people a day. Boom, 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 boom. And record all the fucking podcasts with the lights, the camera equipment. And she goes to one event and she get 3 months worth of podcasts there, sessions. And I think it's all good and well sitting doing your sessions online on Zoom, all that stuff. But see, sometimes just it's more, it just, if me and you're sitting there, Randy, and we're in a bar and we're just chilling, there's no noise, and you know, it would come across a lot better than, you know, we're sitting in different parts of the world just now. I think you're slightly more relaxed in person. The banter is a bit more, and I think potentially doing these in person come across a hell of a lot better. So
I think it would be a blast. Like I could see, and this is how it would play it out. If I knew, and I don't know if you guys are going to do digital unhinged again or not, or whatever, unfiltered. I don't know if that's happening or not.
I'm waiting, Chris telling me digital unhinged.
I know, I saw that on the hinge. I'm like, wait, that's not unfiltered. But what I would do, this is how I would play this out. I'll say spring training, SEO spring training, because I love the Samuels and what they do. So I would start out like, so that's usually in first week of May now. I would probably start out like in March, April-ish, lining up who I wanted to talk with. I'd start talking about it on my show, kind of pre-selling, like, hey, you know, when I'm at SEO Spring Training, I'm going to have Craig. Craig and I are going to go live, you know, on that Tuesday night at 7:00. Come join us, kind of thing. I would start pre-selling it and pumping it so that Tuesday night, SEO Spring Training, 7:00. Craig and I are going live, and I would want to do it live because I think live is a lot of fun.
Live could be fun, but it then means that when you're at SEO Spring Training, you're going to be live every other hour, and then no one's going to hear from you for months because you're fucking burnt out. Whereas I think recording them and drip feeding them out weekly is also probably quite important. Consistency and
stuff,
you know. Yeah. But I think I like the live idea as well. You know, just come on, let's do it live, off the cuff. There's no edits, so again, there's something unique about a podcast that's not had any kind of editing because
maybe what would be a good idea. So I think Skylar is listening to this. So Skylar, this is what you should tell your dad. One night or like at 5:00 or something during SEO Spring Training, you guys should do a live, bring on a couple of the guests and like do it live and talking about SEO spring training and some of the shit. You could have people come and be in the audience, like doing it over cocktails and stuff, and like, hey, we're doing a happy hour. I got Craig live with me. We're going to go live and take questions from the audience and from on stream. I think it could be kind of a fun experience, probably better rather than me doing it for hot off the press, maybe as a kind of as a tie-in promo with SEO spring training, maybe. I don't know. But live stuff is good. I think live content is going to become even more important than what it is now, because the pre-recorded stuff, I think there's going to be more of a question mark of, is that really real? You know, with AI video and content becoming so good that I think live content is going to become more valuable.
I like it, but I like what Joe said here, live by the pool. And I was going to say, is Skylar, if we could just go back like 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you could have literally just come over to that fucking part of the pool we was all fucking sat at with your camera and just said, lads, let's have a fucking conversation. And that would have been a lot of fun. I think there was enough guys there where the knowledge would have been super solid. It would have been strange because we're all sat at a pool with our fucking tops off and shit. But I think...
But that's the whole thing, though, on the live stuff, right? So you're like the example you're giving and what we have talked about. People want to connect with people. And when they can see you being just off the cuff and rambunctious like Craig in all of his glory, right? That's when people are like, I love Craig, he's so fun, right? And that's what you can pull across in a live, that you can still get it across in a pre-recorded stuff, but not to the extent like an example that you were just giving. I think people will eat up the live stuff
like when we were all sat at breakfast as well, like Skylar here, fucking, I'm going to go down to the breakfast table and see what fucking douchebag's about at 7 a.m. And then there'll be, I don't know, Chad or some fucking thing sitting around talking, or someone will be lying in the gutter hungover. Do some questions to them. And get them in all their glory. Oh, come on, man. My language, fucking Dooley is the fucking
dude. All of you guys from the UK, you are all but you're so. I will say this though, your swearing has gotten more clear. You used to, when you would say fuck, it was like fook that or fook and none of it. And I'm like, what the hell are you saying? Now you're pretty clear on the F word. And now it comes across pretty well.
I had to fucking adapt it for all you fucking guys that kept saying, like, what the fuck? You could just see this vague look in people's faces. India, wherever, America, you just see they had no fucking clue. So I'm like, Craig, you're going to have to try and work this, man. So, yeah, there's been a little bit of polishing. I know it doesn't seem like that, but there has been considerable polishing on the vocabulary and wording and phrases.
Your eloquence is what they'd say. Your language skills, yes.
It's the speeds and all that. So I've had to adapt. So I ain't been fucking kept in the same thing as fucking Dooley. I've worked hard at this. Dooley is rough as fucking toast. He is as rough as they fucking come. But SaaS Pods is saying, if you want, you can hire a good team and cut it live with ATM, and then you can post it at any point. Bogdan, I have no idea what you just fucking said, Dave.
I don't either, but all of a sudden I'm looking at that going, shit, I wonder if you could do the thing for me with my hot off the press then. Bogdan, I'm going to reach out to you and I want to talk with you about some stuff. Yeah.
Don't talk to us about fucking podcasty technical things. We've no clue.
Yeah.
Rattling off fucking this, that, the next thing for you from an SEO perspective, and you're like, what? They don't know that technical shit. They just get sent to some guy who knows what they're fucking doing.
I know, right?
We're not doing our own reputation management any good here, Randy, by half of this stuff. But the Black Magic Atom Mini. Yeah, I know what that is now. But dude, I still don't even know how to work it. So I had Bogdan come down my office, so I bought all of this podcast stuff. And he had to come and fucking plug it all in, man. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I want. Like, tell me what to fucking buy, and can you come down and plug the fucking thing in for me as well? So that was it, dude. And I tell you what, that was a fucking fun night. So Bogdan came to my office, I don't know, let's say 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're still there at 10 o'clock at night. I didn't have the right wires. We didn't have the right fuck all, but somehow I've got this big white box in my office, which any wires or any shit that I've ever bought all get stuffed in this white box. Wires, and lo and behold, by hook or by crook, we got that fucking shit put together. He left there with that full fucking thing working, and it was beggars belief. There was several times throughout the night where I'm like, we're just going to have to fucking order the right stuff and move on. But yeah, he went to Wex photos and bought the entire store. Bogdan, I bought what you fucking asked me to buy. What he didn't tell me, so I bought the cameras, I bought the the different gadgets and all that stuff. He didn't fucking tell me what wires to buy. I didn't know these things all fucking had funky cables and
yeah.
Right stuff. So there was like HDMI cables missing. There was this, that, and the next thing missing. But we cobbled it together out of that white box, and I'm like, I fucking hated that white box, but thank fuck that was there. Because how he managed to pull that together, dude, was fucking scary. It was a real fucking shit show, and we left there with the fucking thing working. Needless to say, I've been traveling a lot since, and I've not actually recorded a podcast in the studio. But
I was just going to ask you that because I have not seen anything from that room.
But it is coming soon. Once I get this operation done, I am going to hammer the podcast, because I've actually got quite a lot of guests and stuff
Nice.
that are interested. So yeah, it's all there, and it's all ready to go.
Nice.
So yeah. So there we go. I just thought I'd share that story. The box is a magic box, man. It is everything. So yeah, but if it wasn't for Bogdan, dude, I would have been fucked. I don't even know what a Black Magic Atom is. Even though I bought it, I don't even know what it does.
I don't even know what the heck it is either, so I have no idea. That's good.
But that's us, basically. We are actually over time ranting and raving about this. But hopefully there was a lot of good information there in terms of building a brand, things not to do, pushing stuff out there, trying to protect your brand, what to look for in case someone hijacks your brand. And even for someone like Bogdan, believe it or not, he had a fucking brand and he just didn't know how to piece it together. So Bogdan already had 80 or so high-profile press articles about his time in the past. I'm not going to say what he done in case he doesn't want me to. But from that, and he just needed the knowledge of joining all that together to pop that knowledge panel and get the trust. He'd already done all the fucking hard work, and he already had all the PR. He just didn't know how to fucking work it to power his website and power his brand and power his authority online. So that's where that light bulb moment came on, when you're telling him, you're like, dude, fucking hell, you need to fucking do this. And the light bulb just went, oh, fuck. And he went away and done it. So, yeah, he's got a Wikipedia and everything, by the way. He's got fucking, by the way, something I've fought for about 10 years to do is get that Wikipedia page. Obviously, I'm not famous enough to get that Wikipedia page. But fucking old Bogdan
got it.
in a week. Got his fucking Wikipedia page and everything. But he deserved it. He has got notoriety for something, and he got it. But yeah. So Randy, you said earlier, can someone come in and just fucking get it? Dude, sometimes if you've got things in the past and he wasn't aware of marketing or anything like that, he was just a young kid and he had all this stuff and he didn't really know how to work it out in his favor. So there is a chance that you can do this stuff very, very quickly as well.
Right.
Either that, or you're going to have to pay a fortune. But either way, it can be done. And Bogdan has got his wiki. He's got his knowledge panel. His traffic is fucking going up and up and up. Because we were actually talking about you, Bogdan, before you came in. Your traffic's on the rise, and I think you will make some decent money online.
Yeah. And there's no better time than today. And if you don't do it today, then you better do it tomorrow, because every day you waste or put it off just delays it. But
yeah,
and if you don't ever do it, you will never get there. That's the certainty.
That's the thing. You can look and go, oh, he's in front of me. This guy's 5 years in front.
Yeah.
Just go do it. Start.
Just go do it.
You can.
Know that it's going to take work, man, but you just be a dog on it. Oof. Get it.
And when you're starting, guys, make sure you go to the news guy. That's where it all starts. The link is above. The logo is above. The link is below. That is the man himself, Randy, and he can obviously help you with knowledge, advice on all of the things combined, because it's not a case of just going to that website and buying something blindly off a shelf. I think there's add-ons and dots to be joined and making sure that but knowledge, just taking advantage of your knowledge, because people will come there going, what do I need a PR for? Well, what do you need it for? What are you trying to achieve? Is it this? Is it that?
Right.
So he can help you with that. And SEO fucking hammer. Joe.
I know, I was laughing at that.
Joe. This man.
All right, folks. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow on Craig's platforms. Give him some love.
Yes. And we'll see you at the same time next week, everyone.
All right.
See you later.